Okay, so we are on chapter 6, Shloka 5. Udharad atmanat atman natman asvat devayat atmaiva hai atmano badher. Hold on, someone's trying to come in. Morning, Amanda. Morning, Amanda.
Morning.
We just started reading number 6. I mean, number 5. I don't think I finished reading the Sanskrit, but I'm just going to start the English. A man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. The word Atma denotes body, mind, and soul, depending upon different circumstances. In the yoga system, the mind and the conditioned soul are especially important. Since the mind is the central point of yoga practice, Atma refers here to the mind. The purpose of the yoga system is to control the mind and to draw it away from the attachment to sense objects. It is stressed herein that the mind must be so trained that it can deliver the conditioned soul from the mire of nescience. In material existence, one is subjected to the influence of the mind and the senses. In fact, the pure soul is entangled in the material world because of the mind's ego, which desires to lord it over material nature. Therefore, the mind should be trained so that it will not be attracted by the glitter of material nature. And in this way, the conditioned soul may be saved. One should not degrade oneself by attraction to sense objects. The more one is attracted by sense objects, the more one becomes entangled in material existence. The best way to disentangle oneself is to always engage the mind in Krishna consciousness. The word hai is used for emphasizing this point. That is, one must do this. It is also said, Mana eva masi manu sayanam karam banda moksaya bandaya visa yasengo muktai nirvisayam mana. For man, mind is the cause of bondage, and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from sense objects is the cause of liberation. Therefore, the mind, which is always engaged in Krishna's consciousness, is the cause of supreme liberation. Bandar Atma Tamas Atmat Manas Tasaya Yena Maiva Atmana Jitta Atmanas tu Satrutve Vartet Tatmaya Satruvat. I feel like the Sanskrit this morning has like a French twist to it. For him who has conquered the mind is the very best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. The purpose of practicing eightfold yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga for show is simply a waste of time. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and his mission are spoiled. The constitutional position of the living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one's mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. But when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of the personality of Godhead, one who is situated within the heart of everyone as Paramatma. Real yoga practice entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. Shloka 7. Jittatmana prasantasaya paramatma samahita Sitosna Sukha Dukhesu Tatha Mana Pamana Yao. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. When the mind is misled by the external illusionary energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one is to be considered as having already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no other alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramama or Supersoul. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna consciousness, the devotee of the Lord, is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat, etc. This state is practical samadhi, or absorption in the Supreme. Shloka 7. Jnana Vijnana Trapatma Kutasto Vijatendriya Yuka Iti Uchati Yogi Sama Loshtra Sama Kana. A person who is said to be established in self-realization is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. This is stated as follows. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na Bhavad Grayam Indriya Savamuk Hai Jiva Dao Savayam Eva Spuryati Ada. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. Padma Purana. This Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions, but by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. It is the realized soul who is actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with the mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship is mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no value than pebbles or stones. Sloka 9. Shrun Mitrari Udasina Madhyasta Devasaya Padhusu Sadhus Api Cha Papesu Sama Buddha Visayati. A person is said to be still further advanced when he regards all, the honest well-wisher, friends and enemies, the envious, the pious, the sinner, and those who are indifferent and impartial with an equal mind. Oops. Oh, that's it for text 9. Text 10. Yogi Yunjita Satanam At manam rahasi stita eki yata chit atma nirasir aparigraha. A transcendentalist should always try to concentrate his mind on the Supreme Self. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna consciousness means, concisely, to be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman or localized supersoul are always partially Krishna conscious, because impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna and supersoul is the all-pervading partial expansion of Krishna. Thus, the impersonalist and the meditator are also indirectly Krishna consciousness. A directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist because such a devotee knows what it is meant by Brahman or Paramatma. His knowledge of the absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and the meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of a transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realization. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. All these perfections and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self-abnegation, where there is very little chance for material possessiveness. Srila Rupa Goswami characterizes Krishna consciousness in this way. Anasa Katasaya Visyan Yatharam Janta Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vyargyam Uchati Prapachikataya Bhugya Hari Sambandhi Vastuna Mumuksabu Parityago Varigam Flagu Kathyati. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental, and he is always alone, having nothing to do with persons not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness is the perfect yogi. Text 11 and 12. Sukho desi prathithapaya stritam asanam attamana nati yuktritam nati nikam kalijina kusataram trikaram mana Krithva yata chitendriya kriya upav yasani yujrad yogam atma vasudyai. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and should practice yoga by controlling the mind and senses, purifying the heart, and fixing the mind on one point. Sacred place refers to places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavana, Kesha, and Hardwar, and in solitude practice yoga where the sacred rivers like the Yamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so-called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for the actual practice of yoga. One who is not self-controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Brahman Naradiya Purana, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present yuga or age, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaviva Kavalam, Kalu Nasti Eva Gatar Anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. I'm going to pause here. 13. And if we don't have much to say, we'll just end. We'll just start breath.
Yeah, I'm ready for breath.
Okay. All right, so I'll sit up nice and tall. Hi, Amanda. Sue couldn't make it this morning.
I'm muted, sorry. That's okay. Thank you for reading.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of important ones.
Yeah. I'll have to tell Sue to go backwards. I felt like the Sanskrit was super challenging this morning, but I don't know if it was.
It sounded that way.
It just sound like, I feel like the last few days I've been able to like flow through it, but today it was very choppy. And I was like, I don't know if it's hard because it legit is hard, or if I'm telling myself it's hard, I'm making it harder on myself.
No, it's hard, man. It's hard. It's real hard. I know, I was impressed yesterday. You were like, but then, you know, the places in India I could not pronounce until I went there. And like, I heard people saying it over and over again. It's just a whole other language.
When you talk to people that don't live on Long Island and you try to get them to pronounce the towns out east, they're like you try to get someone to try to pronounce Hauppauge. I dated a guy from New Jersey in college, and he was pretending that he knew Long Island and all the cities, and he was like, you know, Islip. And I'm like, what's Islip? And I realized he was seeing Islip on the Weather Channel and pretending he knew how to pronounce it. So like, even our towns are hard to pronounce. So it's okay that India's places are really hard too. We do our best.
I visited some friends in New Hampshire after college, and they were trying to like, Worcestershire is Worcester. It's like all of the towns there are crazy sounding. So yeah, I totally understand your point. Not easy. But I guess this is
Nassau towns aren't as challenging maybe, but some towns out in Suffolk are pretty challenging.
Yeah, any of the like Native American names are hard to say.
Yeah. But not when they're hard to say until you know how to say them. Then I never even thought like how like it just becomes, you grow up with it.
Right.
It's not as challenging because I grew up out there, so those are my towns.
Yeah, we're at a disadvantage with all this yoga stuff. We were not born with it.
No.
But it's kind of the same theme over and over and over again, right?
Well,
Deal with your mind. Chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And what I think about the Sanskrit is like, I can read it every morning and do the best I can. And I have an advantage because I was born with the sense that I don't care what other people think of me. And if people are going to think of me and judge me for my Sanskrit, I don't care because I'm doing whatever they're judging is probably true because I'm doing the best I can. I have no training in Sanskrit.
I doubt anyone's going to judge you, Pam. Don't worry.
I know. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people wouldn't even try because they don't want to be judged. And yeah, like, I want to, the only way you can learn it is by doing it, I guess.
Yeah. I read somewhere once, like, never judge someone if they're pronouncing a word incorrectly because it means that they're reading.
Yeah.
Just because they've never like heard it in real life, they're not pronouncing it right, but it means that they're like smart, like they read, so whatever, it's fine.
There's words I don't know how to say, and I just go through it and hope for the best. That's why sometimes I'll be giggling at myself because I'm like, I have no idea how to pronounce this word.
The whole human language is so convoluted. It was created purposefully in a weird way so that only the nobility knew how to read properly and you could tell who was noble and who wasn't. I'm trying to teach my toddler English and she says things irrationally, like she'll pluralize things rationally and then I have to like correct her to something that's irrational. It happens all the time. It's like what you're saying makes sense, my love, but that's not how English is. English doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's really hard. So we do our best.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some rounds of alternate nostril, unless anyone has anything else to say. And like going back to the Sanskrit though, like sometimes my mom will be like, why am I even bothering? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm like, we have to, there's a reason why we're reading this and we're supposed to pronounce the Sanskrit. So I'm just going to keep doing it.
It feels grounding for some reason.
Just like trying something new.
Yeah.
And the whole point of all of this is that I'm like, this is my way of just throwing it up there to Krishna consciousness. Like reading this book, that's my practice. It's just like whatever.
It says right in there, Krishna doesn't care if you offer him a leaf, a fruit, some water with the right intention. He doesn't care. He's just happy.
Like if I'm doing it with the right intention, which I am, then it's okay.
It's okay.
So I feel like that's my lesson learned. Yeah, and Menika, if you ever want to try to read the Sanskrit out loud, just tell me. And you
I'll try. I've been trying like offline, and I'm like, wow, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah,
we'll have to get an expert on here to teach us.
It's like learning another. It brings me back to my Spanish days.
Yeah.
Trying to learn another language.
Yeah, it is another language.
Yeah, well,
I can barely pronounce English words.
Yeah. It would be really hard for me to learn Sanskrit because I'd have to be immersed in it. Like I'd have to go spend 3 months somewhere. It would be because that's how my experience was with Spanish. Like if I would have studied, I tried to minor in it. If I couldn't get it, if I had went and lived somewhere, I probably would have picked it up, but I couldn't do it here.
Yeah, but where are you gonna go now? Where they're speaking Sanskrit anciently? I know my Ayurveda teacher was like, you need to go learn Sanskrit so you could read all the texts and not have to like deal with translations. I was thinking like, man, you went to a doctorate program in India. Like they taught you all that in the classes. Where am I gonna find that here?
Oh no, I'm not going anywhere to learn Sanskrit. I guess not this lifetime. Maybe next lifetime I'll be.
I don't know. Maybe I could find something online. I don't know.
You'd have to be really.
They need a Rosetta Stone for Sanskrit
Yeah,
or a Duolingo.
like a mini Amanda over there.
What's that?
All right, I'll let you guys get to meditation.
Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Taking a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. We'll bring our right hand over to our nose. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale through the left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. If you want to continue on a few more rounds or practice another breath, that's totally your practice. Namaste.